Hello everybody, Jediwarlock here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Here, at last, on the shores of Northrend, comes the end of our swimming adventures. In this final episode, I'm going to complete my journey around Northrend by swimming from Hrothgar's Landing all the way back to Dragonblight, documenting my findings along the way. There were a lot of cool features on this last endeavor, and I hope you'll all be as satisfied with the conclusion as I was after filming it. So, with all that being said, let's get right into it and explore the oceans of Azeroth. Re-entering the frigid waters above Northrend, I once more swam across the channel connecting Hrothgar's Landing to Icecrown, and continued to the east along the coast. I didn't find much along the remainder of the shore here, but what I saw next definitely surprised me. The towering mountains of the Storm Peaks loomed high above as I swam along, and as I entered the zone, the water turned a murky black, darker than I've ever seen in-game. I'm not sure why this happened in this zone, but seeing as Storm Peaks is one of the only coastal zones in the game without access to the water itself, it could be that the developers just didn't see a need to add in the proper water effects. Despite the strange seas in this zone, the surface is especially beautiful, with the snowy cliffs cascading into the ocean and the northern lights in the skybox. While it is perhaps even more breathtaking from the air, it was still fun to explore this zone from a new point of view. The fallen empire of Zuuldrak passed by relatively quickly, the borders marked by massive walls of carved stone. I'm planning on making a major lore video for this zone in the future, but in the meantime, the coastline revealed precious few details about the state of the region. Swimming back into the southern half of the continent, the Grizzly Hills were a welcome sight in this land of ice and snow. Blood Moon Isle, a stronghold for Worgen loyal to the Lich King, is surrounded by multiple sunken ships, as are the nearby ruins of Tethys. The remainder of this video ended up having so many sunken ships that it would take way too long to document all of them, but I'll still be updating the ship counter at the end of each zone. I especially like the ones in this zone as they have a distinct golden brown hue from the sun and water effects. On the Eastwind shore, there ended up being 4 ships, which is already quite a step up from the previous half of the swim. Passing the imposing mountains in the south of Grizzly Hills, the water once again turned icy, and the jagged cliffs of the Howling Fjord opened up on my right side. A few burning ships, remnants of the Alliance Navy, can be seen on the coast here, as can others farther off the shore. Vengeance Landing, a familiar sight for Horde players exploring Northrend, is here in the northeast, and is one of my favorite introductory experiences to a zone. Farther south, a fleet of Alliance ships sails toward Vengeance Landing, and as the cliffs of the peninsula continued to pass by, I reached a commandeered Forsaken vessel overrun by Kavaldir. Baelgun's excavation site shows off a massive Titan statue being uncovered. The cliffs here in the south are eclipsed by walls of ice that descend into the frozen sea. There are quite a few ships in this area, likely because of the many ice caps that dot the shoreline. I decided to swim into the titular Fjord to explore what lied underwater, and I found the infamous burning ship held aloft by the spears of the dragon flayers. Daggercat Bay sits at the foot of Utgard Keep, and is central to the Valgard starting experience, while the Alliance Icebreaker regularly takes the loop around to dock at the port. Back on the high seas, more shipwrecks dotted the shelf, but there are so many more to see here in this zone. Approaching the pirate hideaway of Scalawag Point, it's obvious these guys could use some better lessons on how to steer a boat. But what else could be found here in the water than one of our favorite giant anchors? On the twin shores between the islands, a ship is moored in the shallow region, and there is another just beneath the dock at the Tuskarr town of Kamagwa. The frigid waters below the shattered straits are a goldmine for shipwrecks, some intact, some not, but all lost to the frozen sea. There's even one caught inside this iceberg, which I found to be rather unique, and from the top you can get a view of almost the entire west coastline. If you're patient, you might even see the Zeppelin, run by the Alliance expedition, leading some bombing runs against the nearby pirates. Believe it or not, this zone added 41 shipwrecks to the list, earning it the title of most shipwrecks in a single zone in all of Classic WoW. I'm curious to know if any other zone in retail has more, so feel free to comment about this down below. The rustic scenery of the Grizzly Hills once more passed by as I swam by the southwestern side of the zone. There are a couple more ships here, but the main feature on this leg of the swim is Venture Bay, a logging ground hotly contested by the Horde and Alliance. One detail that many players might miss is the Goblin submarine docked here, which might have made this swim a lot faster. Dragonblight, the wintry wonderland of dragons, reappeared as the final stage of my journey. The Forgotten Shore, Arthas' landing spot in Northrend from long ago, is recreated in this expansion and includes the many burned ships sabotaged by Arthas himself in his growing madness. Spectral soldiers and sailors linger on the shore, restless souls needing to be put to rest. Overlooking this waterlogged tomb is New Hearthglen, where the Scarlet Crusade has established their first landing in Northrend. The final point of interest on this grand adventure can be found due west, where the path of the Titans deteriorates into the ocean. Here, amid the crumbling pillars and blue-gray waves, lies a massive skeleton. A creepy sight indeed, and one that is far larger than any other in the area. A few months back, I made a separate video investigating what this creature could have been, so feel free to go watch it using the link here in the video. It was good to see this landmark again, and I felt it was a nice high point to wrap up my adventures in Northrend. At long last, a little over 4 hours since the beginning of the trip, I arrived back at Milwaukee Harbor, and after saying hi to this baby orca, I made my way back into the village for some much needed rest. As I took refuge inside the main tent, the realization hit me. I did it. With this final part over, I now have swam around the entirety of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. For those of you who have been watching since the beginning, or are just now tuning in, I want to sincerely thank all of you for joining me on this series and liking, commenting, or subscribing to the channel. This series is what has allowed me to meet so many of you who, like me, are big fans of the old world of Azeroth, and enjoy learning about the secrets found within, and I've enjoyed reading all your fun and informative comments. I still have a ton of ideas when it comes to future videos, and I hope you'll consider checking them out as I develop my projects with the help of WoWmaster and all of you in the community. Wherever our future adventures lead, until next time, peace.